Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I have kind of an interesting video. So first off, I actually uploaded a video a couple days ago from the day of this upload, where I was talking about a woman that passed away in China, allegedly on stream by eating 20 pounds of food. We're going to be talking about the mukbanger from China, Pan Xiaoting, that recently on live stream while she was doing mukbangs. I had been sent a few articles by a few people, and people had been wanting me to talk about it. So, I recorded a video and I uploaded that video onto YouTube. And probably about 5 minutes into that video being uploaded, there was a good amount of comments of people saying that this had actually been debunked and it didn't actually happen and it wasn't actually real. So I actually literally privated the video immediately, like right when I saw those comments, and I started doing some research. And also Rachel, who helps me with a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well, she helps produce a lot of the videos. She also did a good amount of research as well, so we could kind of come up with what exactly happened. And so I wanted to talk about, obviously I messed up on that one. That's my bad. It is what it is. I took the video down, but I really think that this is a good chance to talk about the mukbang, quote unquote, mukbang problem, especially in China and just in general, the mukbang, like what we're dealing with on YouTube, especially here, obviously in the West, dealing with mukbangs, because it's something that we've talked about a lot. And it's interesting that this is also a problem in other countries and how they are addressing it. And so first, obviously, I want to talk about what's going on in China. And to do that, this is actually the video. This is a TikTok that helped me kind of understand, okay, I don't think that this story that I had talked about in the video originally is actually real. And this is from the TikToker CC Loves Cheese. A fantastic video, kind of breaking down everything and just her sharing her perspective as someone that obviously understands this situation a lot more. So let's go on and let her kind of explain everything.
24 years old young Chinese influencer who doing mukbang live streaming on Douyin. This news not only went viral on Chinese social media, but I keep seeing the same news went viral on TikTok. So as Chinese, I have to fact check it, because I use Chinese TikTok Douyin very frequently, and I also love to watch some mukbang video, but I have never heard about this influencer ever before. So this is one of the articles that I find on the Western side, and the pictures in use are actually from another Chinese influencer. This is her page, and she's in fact still alive and just got pregnant.
So she's claiming right there that this influencer is an actual person, but they're still alive, right? And so obviously that's quite the big red flag there.
And I also check other English language articles, but most of the picture used are either fake or borrowed from other influencers. And same thing happened on the Chinese social media as well. There are many articles about this news, but none of them are posted by official.
And that's really interesting too. So this isn't just a story that is becoming popular in the West and, in the US and other countries, right? This is also something that's being pushed in China, that people are seeing in China on different, Chinese websites. Obviously, I can't read any of that stuff, so I don't know exactly what's going on. So obviously I have to take CC at her word. But it seems that she kind of understands everything that's kind of going on here. And, again, I'm just appreciative that there's stuff out there that can better help explain what's actually going on over there.
And the photos of that allegedly influencer are just all fake photos. So I'm not sure if this thing actually really happened or it's just a fake news. But nevertheless, let me tell you more about mukbang in China. Mukbang in China is one of the most popular topics on Chinese social media. And in fact, a couple years ago, China banned mukbang on Chinese social media. And I still remember when this law came up, a lot of the Western media said it's because China hates Korea. And mukbang is something come from Korea. So China is anti-Korea by banning the mukbang. But the thing is, eating show is not completely banned on Chinese media. Only those mukbang, like people who eat enormously food, are get banned. Because China think mukbang is promoting wasteful food and unhealthy eating habit.
Yeah, and so that's really interesting. So what she's claiming is that mukbangs aren't technically banned, right? But it's promoting wasteful food in China is not allowed. And so therefore, if you're doing like the traditional mukbangs, especially the ones that you see here in the United States, where I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, where there's just an excessive amount of food and it's obvious this person is not going to be eating all of this food. So it's like, that is what is actually banned in China. And she goes on to explain a little bit as to what is allowed, right? And like, what can you actually do?
So right now on Chinese media, if you want to perform a eating show, you have to be showing the full process that you're actually eating it, including the swallow part. If you just chew on food, but there's no swallow part, your video are more likely to get taken down as fake. And also, if you eat a lot of food in one video, in order to pass the censorship, some influencers have to put a disclaimer on top of their video to say that this is what I eat in a normal day. I finish all the food. Nothing is waste in this video. Like, you can still post eating video in Chinese media, but you just cannot promote wasting food or eating it for show and then spitting it out.
So I think that that's interesting because, again, I always talk about, whenever I talk about mukbangs on this channel, there's a lot of people that say we should just ban them on YouTube, right? They shouldn't be allowed. And I'm always like, I don't know exactly how like YouTube would do that, right? I think the only way to do it is like, what, you just can't eat food on YouTube? But even with that, right, it comes with the caveat of like, well, what if you're doing a full day of eating, or what if you're just showing, oh, this is what I had for lunch? Would you get in trouble for that, right? So like, what would be the restrictions that would be set on how and what you can show yourself eating, right? And so like, it seems like social media influencers in China are basically saying, no, this is actually what I eat. I eat this much every day, right? So they don't get banned. I don't know. That's why I've always said, like, I don't know what the answer would be to how you regulate and decide what's allowed and what's not, right?
One of the most famous mukbang or eating show influencer in Chinese social media is called Lian Lian. This is she. And because she's so famous, originally she can earn more than $100,000 per month. However, continuously filming mukbang video also has a negative impact for her body. This is what she looked like almost a year ago, and this is what she looks like now.
I mean, we've seen similar things happen to people here in the US who do mukbang videos, yes, for sure.
Because she gained so much weight by making and filming those mukbang video. The sad part is, because mukbang topic is so profitable and popular in China, so many people are willing to do this type of video and then even willing to risk their health on it.
And that's it's just so interesting seeing that that's exactly what people struggle with, or like what we're struggling with here in the US talking about mukbangs, is that there are plenty of people that are willing to basically put their health and life basically at the end of the day on the line to get that paycheck from YouTube by uploading those mukbang videos. So we actually did a little bit more research because I was just interested in how this kind of came about, you know, how the whole ban on these mukbangs or eating food in front of a camera on China has kind of been banned and it's not allowed. And so this is actually a video that comes from ABC News Australia. It's kind of strange, but I feel like they do a really good job of explaining the timeline of how these videos became kind of taboo and banned. This is a really, really good video. I really I'm glad that it's on the internet, because it definitely has helped me understand the whole situation a little bit better.
They're known as Big Stomach Kings. And it's easy to see why. These internet stars post videos of themselves eating and drinking huge amounts of food. It's a trend known as mukbang.
Mukbang is a South Korean social media phenomenon about live stream videos of people eating, typically enormous quantities of food.
Hello, 我是胖仔。
Peng Zai, a farmer from Hebei province, is just one of many internet sensations known for their ability to eat and drink.
The people that make these videos are what we call micro-celebrities. Mukbang performers in China could have tens of millions of followers before the crackdown in 2020.
Chinese internet celebrities famous for eating broadcasts are feeling the heat from authorities.
You see, it turns out these internet legends are at odds against the national push to end food waste and dining excesses in China, which he described as shocking and distressing. He said waste was shameful and thriftiness was applaudable.
So it seems like basically where this comes from is trying to avoid the food waste, right? And so like that's kind of the backbone of why they have decided to start cracking down on these, you know, mukbang videos, and just as far as waste is concerned, right?
And thus the reign of the Big Stomach Kings was now over.
Platforms immediately self-censored, and a lot of the Big Stomach Kings, at the threat of large fines, started to remove their videos.
So the thing that's interesting, right, with this is that I think that it's one of those things that it sounds good. Like, obviously, yes, food waste is bad. Like, we should avoid that. But then I think where the issue comes in, and what I think is interesting, and this is what I always talk about, and like, I'm like, what is the actual answer, is like, how do you enforce that without it feeling like encroaching a lot on, especially in the US, like your freedoms, you know, and my liberty? Like, how do you enforce something without, because if you're going to enforce no food waste, you have to decide where does the food waste start, and what do we do if someone is wasting food? How much do we fine them, or how much do we get them in trouble, right? Like, what is the answer? And obviously it can be really tough, and the things that some of these restaurants have decided to do are a little unhinged, and I don't think they would work here in the US, but I could be wrong.
The restaurant copped criticism for encouraging its customers to weigh themselves and offering them suggestions on what they should order based on their weight.
Bro, could you imagine that? It's like, oh, you weigh 200 pounds? All right, well, you get a glass of ice water, actually. That's what your dinner's gonna be. That's wild.
Some restaurants in Wuhan started serving one less dish than the number of people at a table. Not wanting to be outdone, restaurants in Liaoning took it a step further, serving 2 fewer dishes. No, not the noodles! Wasteful marketing was targeted too. This video shows fans of a music idol program searching for QR codes inside milk bottles to gain extra votes.
I mean, I think it's good that should not be encouraged, right? Like, just literally buying stuff for no intention to use it, but hoping that you get some sort of golden ticket. Like, yeah, that's definitely, I think it's good that we're moving away from that, right?
The show's final episode was cancelled after the video went viral.
我们店里来了一个特别的你。
And even Colonel Sanders took a hit. A toy promotion at KFC sent some customers into a buying frenzy, leading to a boycott.
Chinese social media platforms and netizens actually respond really quickly now to government initiatives and changes in policy.
But the Clean Plate campaign strikes at the heart of Chinese dining culture. Ordering way too many dishes is a classic Chinese boss move. How else are you going to flaunt your wealth and generosity?
Everybody visit China, love Chinese banquet, but you also feel, oh, what a waste.
Professor Mark Wang is the director of the Center for Contemporary Chinese Studies at the University of Melbourne.
This part is really, really interesting, and they go into a little bit of the history of, you know, why the food insecurity is such a big deal, especially in China, especially for like the older generations here.
He's also an expert on food security in China. He says the government's focus on food waste isn't just about changing eating culture. It's about national security, pointing out the rise and fall of dynasties in China have historically been tied to famine.
Different generation, different dynasty, food security is the #1 top priority. Even today, even the communist China is the same.
And according to Professor Wang, while there's no immediate crisis, China does face some serious food security challenges. In 2020, when the renewed push began, China was experiencing severe flooding and soaring food prices, in particular pork, the staple meat for many.
Due to the rapid economic growth since 1978, when Deng Xiaoping came to power, food consumption, food demand have increased dramatically. #2 challenge is loss of farmland. Due to the rapid industrialization and urbanization. The third major...
I mean, it's interesting, right? It's things that we struggled with in the US. It just seems like it's like kind of pushed back a little bit, right? Like they're dealing with it now. We dealt with it years ago. At least that's what I understand as someone that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Challenge, I think, is farmers have no incentive to continue to do the farming. So many farmers migrate to the city looking for urban cash income job.
Last year, the central government included food security in its 5-year plan for the first time, and new anti-food waste laws came into effect. Restaurants now face steep fines for wasting food, and while cracking down on excessive eating videos might seem, well, excessive, memories of famine still linger for many Chinese. In the late 50s and early 60s, tens of millions of people died of starvation.
Like my mom, remember the famine years, and she won't waste any single grain food, nothing. But for young generation, they never know this famine is a food shortage. No, you are kidding. So that different generation have totally different attitude towards food security issues and also government policy.
It's crazy how fast we will forget things that happened. You know, if it didn't happen to you, it's like it doesn't exist. Even if there's history of it, you could look at it in the history books, right? If you haven't experienced it yourself, it's so hard to really feel the urgency as to why that stuff is important, right?
And putting an end to overindulgent social media videos might also be good for Pengzai's health.
Yeah, so that was the video, and I thought that I personally felt like it did a pretty good job of explaining the things that are going on over in China, you know, for someone that obviously has never been there. So at the end of the day, you know, I put up a video, the information seemed to have been wrong, so I took that video down, but I do think all in all, it ended up being a positive because it helped me understand a little bit more of the things that are going on over there, especially with the mukbang stuff, because we talk about it so much on this channel, and it is a hot topic, and it's so interesting to me as someone that has talked about it a lot. You know, it's something that is important here in the US, but seeing that it's also quote unquote an issue in other parts of the world, I think it's just really interesting to me, and it was really cool to learn about that through doing research for this video. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I would love to know what y'all think down in the comments section down below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're here till the end of the video, you'll notice I don't have a mustache. Let me know. Do you think I should have kept the mustache, or should I go mustacheless? Let me know in the comments. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.